It's another day in the shadow of world conflict, but that doesn't mean we fold our hands and wait. No, ma'am, no, sir. Just like the women and men of World War II, we rise with the sun and we prepare. This is your host, Paviel G, speaking to you not from a place of panic, but of purpose. Today, we are digging into the soil and the soul. We will talk about victory gardens. Yes, they are back and they matter more now than ever. And we will talk about what happens when the phones go silent. Are you prepared if a cyber attack wipes out the grid? Are you, I ask? Let's plant seeds for survival and strength today. And I've got something personal to share too from my book, Can We Talk? So pour that coffee, pin up your hair, and gather around. It's time for another episode from the home front here with war notes and more. What is a victory garden? What were they and why do they still matter? Well, during World War II, victory gardens were planted in backyards, empty lots, and even rooftops. Families grew tomatoes, lettuce, carrots, beets, and even herbs to supplement rations and take pressure off the food supply. By 1944, 20 million victory gardens were producing 40%. It's a huge number. 40% of all vegetables consumed in the United States. Imagine that. Regular folks growing nearly half the nation's veggies. That's people power. Now, I have a tip for you all today. You don't need a big yard. Just start small. Tomatoes in pots. You can put some carrots in some deep containers, whatever you have on hand. Herbs on the window sills, whatever you have on hand, and reuse the buckets, the crates, or milk jugs that you have. Now, the important thing is to grow what you eat the most and start now. It's not about being perfect, it's about being prepared. Welcome, everyone. Welcome. I'm glad you all are here. Alice, Linda, Ricardo, welcome you all. Welcome, everybody. And of course, it's not about being prepared. Okay. Welcome to the program, everyone. Welcome to the program. Welcome to the program. All right. Hi, Cods. How are you? Welcome to the program. So, what if there's a cyber attack? Cyber modern air raids? No bombs fall, but your electricity dies. Let's say that happens. Your maps don't work. Your Cash App is frozen. Most Americans rely 100% on phones for GPS, news, communication, even emergency contacts. And if I may take a moment to give a shout out to Was123. How you doing? Welcome to the program. I appreciate you all being here. Make sure you guys subscribe just so you all know when I come on the lives, because I'm consistently loading up on the lives every hour, an hour almost, God willing. And I also make sure that they're loaded up and fully loaded up so then people can view them as well. So I thank you all for being here. Okay, now if the grid goes down to us, do you know how to live unplugged for more than a day? Most of us depend so much on phones. We depend so much on phones to the point where we don't even know what direction we're going, right? So what I would say in our go bag, so if the phones go down, we have a map to get where we need to get to, right? So make a printed map or get a printed map. They're still cheap. Or if you can't find them in local stores because now everything's so digital and people just depend on GPSs, you can go ahead and order a map online. They're not too costly at all, about $1 or something. By the time you do shipping, it probably might be about $2 or so. Solar powered or hand cranked radios are good. We have solar power. We depend only on our solar boxes and hand crank radio. We have a hand crank radio as well that we got from Amazon about 2-3 years back, but it's a really good radio and you can use it to charge USB, etc. There are ways. Now, pre-written phone numbers on paper, I can't stress this enough. Now, I know that people say, well, now when I think about it, I'm like, okay, well, there's a cyber attack and the phones are going to be all messed up. And how would you be able to contact anybody? That's true. But you still should have the phone numbers written down because if anything gets back in order and maybe your phone numbers are lost or anything of that sort, you can go ahead and recover these things by having the things physically written down on a piece of paper. Now, basic survival guides printed out. That means we need to run here, we need to do here, we need to have the shelter here, we need to do this, blase, blase, have those things written out, have those things prepared. I think it's a good thing. I mean, just my personal opinion there, but I think it's a good thing to have and just be a little bit prepared, a little bit panicky, but not too much. But battery banks are also good to have on hand and also make sure that they are charged. Little battery banks, very important, I shall say. Now, I want to give you all just a little tiny bit of reading from Can We Talk, a preview and a message from my book. I'm an author and I have a lot of books that I've written. And I want to take a moment to read you a passage from my book, Can We Talk, where I talk about how phones took over our minds and pretty much weaken our instincts that we have. And so here's a piece from my book. Part 1, the impact of cell phones on communication. The promise of connection. Cell phones were initially designed to bring people closer. Families could stay in touch across long distances. Businesses could operate seamlessly, and emergencies could be managed swiftly. The invention of text messaging added another layer of convenience, enabling quick, concise communication. However, what began as a tool for connection soon became an instrument of distraction. The convenience of constant availability turned into an expectation. Calls became texts, texts became emojis, and deep conversations devolved into shallow exchanges. People now communicate more frequently, but less meaningfully. I'll also give you a little sneak peek in the middle of my book. In chapter 13 of Practical Steps to Reduce Cell Phone Dependency, if you jump all the way over to hobbies and skills, in my book, I write, learning a new skill or pursuing a hobby can be a rewarding alternative to screen time. Ideas include painting, drawing or crafting, playing a musical instrument, cooking or baking, sports, or fitness classes. You can invest in alternative tools instead of relying on your phone for everything. Consider using alternative tools like alarm clocks, physical planners, or calendars for scheduling, and books for reading instead of ebooks and audiobooks on your phone. So that's just a little bit out of my book to help anybody at any age really just kind of start off by reading Can We Talk? My book, Can We Talk? Start reading that book, being that it's small and easy to read for anybody, any age. And then I believe that my book will lead folks to that does not involve a cell phone. Although I want you all to be here to listen to me, however, I would rather you all read a book than to listen to me, honestly. And that's because I know that reading is essential. That's why I wrote this book. So we can start talking to each other again, really talking. That's why I'm doing this podcast the way that I'm doing it, because sometimes folks don't need to just see pictures and video across the screen to criticize other people and what they have on and how they look, etc. They just need to listen and open up their ears. So really to get the talking. And you can find it on my website, my book, Can We Talk, at pavielgallegos.com. Please check it out when you get a chance. And I promise you it will open up your eyes. Now, before I sign off today, I want you to remember this. In times of war, the wise plant seeds, not just in soil, but in their spirit. And whether it's growing a tomato or growing your own strength, it all counts. The phones might fail, the stores might close, but we don't stop, right? We've done this before and we'll do it again. So stay ready, stay grounded. And as always, keep your hearts warm, your minds, keep them sharp, and your pantries, keep them very full. Until next time, from War Notes and the Home Front, I'm with you always here on the porch and sometimes just hanging out with me. And see you all in the next episode.